So the Comet is Coming is a jazz group. You may remember earlier in the year they dropped their breakout album, which garnered a lot of attention. I also liked it quite a bit as well. It has cooled down on me since it came out and since I reviewed it, unfortunately, but it's just the way things are sometimes. Some albums do end up growing off you and some grow on you, etc, etc. Definitely worthy of its praise though. I mean, it is a strong jazz album, and this EP is supposed to be like a sort of like sister EP to that album. And I'm not sure if it's because it's just an EP or whatever, but it doesn't seem to have garnered as much attention as what they put out earlier in the year. Perhaps the album experience is more interesting to a lot of people and EPs kind of fall by the wayside a little bit. Or it is because the quality of the EP isn't that strong and people just don't really feel that connected to it. And I would kind of bet that it is the latter in this situation, because in comparison to what they put out on the album, this definitely feels like just a leftovers thing. You wouldn't think that it has its own kind of like concept to it, you know, it's the afterlife, something that they were sort of teasing out on the album with this idea that the world is kind of coming to an end, the universe needs to wake up and sort itself out. Perhaps at this point of the EP they didn't do that, and so we are at the point where the universe is over and we're now at the afterlife, the part where humans are non-existent, the post-apocalyptic world or something, because it just really does feel like what they already did. It is essentially lesser versions of what was on the album. The album offered something exciting, the performances were really stellar throughout. Even if the opening track and the closing track on the album weren't the most exciting moments that the band had to offer, they at least made up for that on the excellent tracks in the middle, whereas this EP is just those bookended tracks on the album like 6 times. I will at least give them Life Force Part 2, which is a track that has such stellar sax playing. The sax, the friggin' sax, man, the sax on this track is just so friggin' good. The performance is a lot smoother. Like on the album there were some really urgent performances where the drumming got really propulsive and in your face, whereas this one just kind of feels very laid back. It's very chill, I guess, with life just being completely empty, the world perhaps being empty. They're just kind of trying to conjure up that feeling of loneliness. But unfortunately that kind of forces the music to just end up sounding very lifeless as well. There is a spoken word sort of performance on the opening track from Joshua Ihedin, and he's no Kate Tempest on this one, to be honest. He doesn't really offer that same like eeriness that she did on the album. I know it sounds like I'm constantly referencing the album, which I don't really like to do when I'm talking about a standalone piece of music. I like to only focus on what they're doing here, but considering how similar it is to the album, it really is hard to separate them both. I can't help but feel that the performances here are just so lukewarm. Everything just feels so tepid. There's really nothing pushing these tracks along, and it's a 32-minute EP. Quite a lot of EPs don't usually run past like the 20-minute mark, but like this feels long. Like some of these tracks go to like 6 minutes in length, and I just don't see why they needed to stretch it out that far. It really doesn't help as well that like even the shorter tracks, the Softness of the Present for example, is so repetitious. Like they just really repeat the same thing over and over to the point where it really gets quite boring. The original sound, again, it has been done before, way better, so repeating it over and over without really taking it further than that or really progressing it just makes it even more tedious to listen to. I'm just kind of struggling with this one. I don't know, like the band is very talented, but you wouldn't really feel the amount of talent that they've got to display with this project here. They're not offering the same excitement that they did before. They have this really cool take jazz to the future approach that here just feels like it's kind of been taken away a little bit. And even the concept at large, when you think about it, is very simplistic. We've seen this done in plenty of sci-fi movies over the years, and it's just kind of not really translating to make interesting music, unfortunately. Definitely a bit of a letdown of an EP. Let me know what you think of it though in the comments if you agree or disagree. I don't usually score EPs, so I'll just leave it at that. You You saw my thoughts, you know how I feel, it's pretty mediocre. Thank you for watching, have a good day, and goodbye.